Okay, in this video we're looking at multiples and divisors, which are essentially the same thing. So the first fact is the number of numbers less than 100 divisible by n is the same as saying the number of multiples of n that are less than 100. The other factor is that whenever you consider multiples, you're always considering an arithmetic sequence. So here's two examples of these. The multiples of 2 are just a very simple arithmetic sequence, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, just counting by 2. If I said the question, how many divisors less than 100, numbers less than 100 are divisible by 2, then it's the same as finding all of these multiples of 2. You can see the same thing for 7, it's just an arithmetic sequence. If we want to count the number of these multiples or divisors, there's actually a very nice way to do it. And all you do is you divide by n. So if I want to say how many multiples of 2 less than 100 are multiples of 2 or divisible by 2, then you take 100, but you don't actually divide by 100. You want to divide by the number less than 100, and so you do the number less than 100 is 99. You do 99 by 2, and that gives you 49 remainder 1. Well, that tells you that 49 of the numbers less than 100 are divisible by 2. You can do the same thing for 7s. You do 99 divided by 7, and 99 divided by 7 is actually 14 remainder 1, because 14 times 7 is 98. And so that means there are 14 multiples of 7 less than 100. So let's look at a few examples of how these play out. The first one is, how many multiples of 8 are less than 200? Again, you take the first number less than 200, which is 199, and you divide that by 8. Well, it turns out that 8 goes into 199, and you can actually do the division if you wanted to. If you're not having a calculator available to you, just go through and do your division. It turns out it's going to be 24 remainder 7. So that means there are 24 multiples of 8, or 24 numbers that are divided by 8, that are divisible by 8 that are less than 200. If I said less than or equal to 200, you'd actually have to include 200 as well, because 200 is divisible by 8. It says how many 3-digit numbers are multiples of 8? How many 3-digit multiples of 8 are there? Or how many 3-digit numbers are divisible by 8? Same question. So on this one, well, we start with the biggest 3-digit number, which turns out to be 999. And I divide that by 8. And that gets me actually 124 remainder 7. Well, 124 is not your answer, because that includes some multiples of 8 that are not 3-digit numbers, which the multiples of 8 that are not 3-digit numbers are those that are less than 99. And so you divide, or less than 100. So you divide 99 by 8. 99 divided by 8 is just going to equal 12 with a remainder 3. And so you're going to end up with 124 minus 12, which equals 112. And so there are 112 3-digit multiples of 8, or 3-digit numbers that are divisible by 8. How many numbers less than 100 are multiples of 4 or 5? Now this gets a little bit tricky, because some numbers are multiples of both. So you start by doing your 99 divided by 4, which equals 24 remainder 3, so we just worry about the 24. And you do 99 divided by 5, which gives you 19 remainder 4. And so now you might think that the answer is 24 plus 19. However, this 24 counts all the multiples of 4, and this 19 counts all the multiples of 5, and it turns out that there's some overlap. And the overlap between these two are exactly multiples of the least common multiple of 4 and 5, which is 20. So how many multiples of 20 are there less than 100? Well, you do the same thing. Just do 99 divided by 20. And so there's going to be 4 of those, so you just have to subtract away the 4 multiples of 20, because those 4 multiples of 20 were counted twice. And we only want to count them once, so we subtract them away one time. And again, we did 20 because 20 is the least common multiple of 4 and 5. And so that gets me an answer of 39. So there are 39 numbers less than 100 that are multiples of 4 or 5. So if there's two numbers, remember you have to divide by their greatest common factor as well and then subtract that away.